Starts right now.
Days are turning into weeks as the people of Maui continue to recover and rebuild from deadly wildfires there. The death toll has stood at 114 for a day now, but that number is expected to rise with hundreds still missing.
President Joe Biden will be on the island tomorrow to survey the devastation firsthand and to meet with survivors who are all hoping one day their home will be restored to the way it was before disaster struck. 2 days after the devastating wildfires began sweeping across the island of Maui, our San Antonio Red Cross deployed 2 of its members.
I found out what those volunteers are doing right now to help thousands in need.
No matter where disaster strikes, those in need can look for this and know they're not alone.
Volunteers are there to just give comfort, to be able to be there for them, to have that hard conversation.
Dr. Jeremy Roberts is the chairman of the board for the local Red Cross and says many of those tough conversations right now in Maui are about missing loved ones.
So if somebody has a family member or a loved one in the affected area, we're able to make that connection through our supply chain.
He says San Antonio and Hawaii have a special military connection.
There's a lot of military personnel that want to make sure that their families are okay.
Roberts says the Red Cross in general has received 1,360 reunification requests and has been able to complete 400 so far.
The 2 people from here in San Antonio that are now in Maui were specifically requested for their skills in logistics and sheltering.
One of them is Ralph Lips, who is managing the movement of supplies to the shelters.
A lot of our volunteers are cross-trained in many aspects. They can do sheltering, they can do damage assessment, they can do disaster action team, which goes out into the community and helps out by figuring out what their needs are at that time.
Mac McNell is the local Red Cross Volunteer Disaster Program manager and says his volunteers are helping at the 11 emergency shelters that have been set up.
We've also been able to provide more than 25,000 meals and snacks to people that have been affected.
And this level of devastation means there will be many more meals to serve, which is why monetary donations are so important.
$25 would be able to provide food and shelter for 3 meals a day for an individual.
While just 2 San Antonio volunteers are on the ground in Maui right now, this group will be prepared if they're asked to send more.
And like they said, monetary donations are the best. The Red Cross already has a set supply chain and can't accept food or blankets from the public. You can donate online by calling 1-800-HELP-NOW or texting 90999 to make a $10 automatic donation. And if you can't donate money, consider donating time. Head to the website or call 210-224-5151 to become a volunteer.
It is so incredible to see all of the work that the Red Cross does, especially in situations like that. Back here at home, we have had to deal with some wildfires and brush fires over the past several weeks, thanks to breezy winds, especially in the afternoon and evening, and of course the dry grasses and vegetation. So as we head into our Monday tomorrow, fire danger is still going to be elevated across the vast majority of south central Texas. But then we monitor a brief pattern change, especially by Tuesday. Take a look at this. I'm going to take you out to the Gulf of Mexico. There's a broad area of low pressure in the eastern Gulf. This is also being deemed Invest 91L as the National Hurricane Center continues to monitor this as well. It's going to move farther westward here over the next 48 hours and then bring in some deeper tropical moisture, rain-making moisture to deep south Texas. Before we can get there, yes, another triple-digit day tomorrow, but then we introduce some rain chances for parts of our area on Tuesday. The better moisture is going to sit south of San Antonio, but I do think some passing downpours will be possible again for some of us. So we'll get you the latest version of Futurecast and all of those details coming up in just a few.
Thank you so much, Mia. The San Antonio Fire Department has seen its fair share of house fires during this historically hot summer. Today, firefighters responded to this home on Cisco Boulevard in the northeast side of town. Thankfully, everyone inside the home got out unharmed and the fire was quickly put out. But the back of the home did suffer severe damage. Right now, fire officials don't know what sparked that fire, but they say it likely started outside of the home.
And Courtney, the extreme heat isn't helping with several wildfires burning across Texas. Crews in Medina County have been battling this fire right here for more than a day now. That fire stretches about 400 acres, and tonight it's about 80% contained. Crews will continue to fight those flames throughout the night, and thankfully right now, No buildings have been damaged. No one's been hurt. As a reminder, here's some easy tips to keep in mind as we continue to be so dry. Properly dispose of those cigarettes and matches. Don't park cars on dry grass. Don't let chains hang from the back of your car or truck. And don't mow dry grass.
Well, people living in this northeast side neighborhood were dealing with a different kind of damage this afternoon. Neighbors on Grandwood Drive near I-35 say this big water leak was so bad at one point that the wheels on their cars were underwater. Right now, there's no official word on what could have triggered the major burst. We did reach out to SAWS for details in the incident and have not heard back yet. Well, the quick thinking of a 12-year-old saved his family. Just 1 week ago, his grandmother was driving her two grandsons on 410 near South Presa Street when she had a seizure.
The family sat down today with the night team's Avery Everett explaining how they all survived that ordeal.
She had her hands kind of closed and she was shaking.
Kale Guevara says it all happened in an instant.
I thought I lost her when it happened on the road. And if I wasn't with her, she probably wouldn't be here anymore.
That moment with his grandma still plays over and over in his head.
Laying back, her lips were blue, her face was pale.
Just last weekend, Kale and his grandma, Donna Williams, were driving on 410 near exit 44 along with Kale's younger brother. That's when Williams started having a seizure.
And when it hits, it's lights out, completely blackout.
Kale says his first thought was to take control of the car.
And I grabbed the wheel first because I didn't want us to hit another car to hit us.
Kale says he stopped the car, using his hands to press on the brakes.
Then I was like this, trying to push down on the brake.
That's when he called 911.
He was talking me through of like what to do, check if she was still breathing, and so I checked, she was still breathing.
SAFD says emergency crews were with the family for about an hour last Saturday, and they were able in that time to take the car from 410 and move it all the way to this gas station over here, freeing up the highway and allowing the family to reconnect again.
I was really scared. I didn't know what happened.
Williams has a medical history of seizures, but says it's been nearly 9 years since her last one.
I can usually tell when I'm going to have one, but this time there was just no warning at all.
You don't really see this every day, and I've had no warning.
At only 12 years old.
I like racing cars and fast cars, and I guess cars are my thing.
Kale's hobby helped him save lives.
He did everything that could have and should have been done. He did very well. I'm very proud of him. Always proud of him.
Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Great job on that kid's part. Awesome. San Antonio police, though, need your help finding a girl they say disappeared yesterday. Norella Rivera was last seen Saturday afternoon on Paramount Avenue in the city's inner west side. She was wearing a white crop top hoodie and jean shorts when she disappeared. If you see Rivera or know where she is, call the SAPD Missing Persons Unit immediately. That number listed right now on your screen and also on our website, KSAT.com.
Here's a look at some stories we've been following today. Two teens were shot in a drive-by overnight, and San Antonio police still don't know who did it. It happened at a West Side home in the 4000 block of West Martin Street late Saturday night. Police say it could have something to do with a fight that broke out there in that home earlier in the day. The victims are 18 and 17 years old. The eldest teen suffering severe injuries. Police still investigating that shooting, and right now they don't have any information on a suspect to let us know about.
A man facing charges after police say he cut another man's ear. It happened downtown on College Street just after 2 this morning. Police say the men got into a fight, and that's when the suspect pulled a knife out and sliced the victim's ear. The 30-year-old suspect was arrested and charged with aggravated assault. Meanwhile, first responders treated the victim at the scene. Also happening overnight, San Antonio police investigating a machete attack on the 7-Eleven on Fair Avenue on the city's south side. The victim told police a man demanded he give up his belongings, and when he refused, he hit him in the head with the machete. Police dispatched their helicopter and several canine units to find the suspect, but he got away. Meanwhile, the victim was taken to the hospital and is recovering.
Around Texas, the state finding itself in the middle of an international controversy tonight. This American-owned tanker, that's not the tanker that we're talking about, but we'll tell you about this tanker. It's about 45 miles off the coast of Galveston right now, and it's offloading its supply of oil, which Iran claims belongs to them. Now, according to the Associated Press, Tehran is now threatening shipping patterns in the Persian Gulf over it. The oil has become mired in the wider tensions between the U.S. and the Islamic Republic. This is the two nations trying to reach a deal over a trade of billions of dollars in frozen Iranian assets into South Korea in exchange for the release of 5 Iranian Americans held in Tehran. Neither country responded to requests today, but there was also something to do with this U.S. naval vessel where there were several drones and speedboats that surrounded it in the strait there today.
All of that online as well on KSAT.com. U.S. Custom officers in Roma found more than 20 packages of cocaine on a commercial bus. They're reporting the incident happened back on August 12th when the bus went over the Roma International Bridge and was stopped for inspection. Canine units found what was around 50 pounds of cocaine inside the bus, which is estimated to be around $380,000 worth of the illegal drug. Former President Donald Trump says he is not participating in the first Republican presidential debate on Wednesday night. He confirmed that decision on his social media platform Truth Social just hours ago. The former president said the public knows who he is and that what he's done in the past as president, and he sees that enough reason not to participate. Trump campaign officials have said not to rule out the possibility that he participates in later primary debates.
Still to come on the Nightbeat, it is a topic more and more people are discussing every day. Why a local gun safety educator says a conversation can change everything. Plus, using his pain to protect other families. How a father who lost his child is making sure other parents don't experience the nightmare he's lived.
Plus, rallying for basic rights, what postal workers say they need in order to continue doing their job safely, and how they're leaning on the community for help.
The San Antonio Zoo is about to get a multi-million-dollar facelift.
Now, facility upgrades and new animals are just the start of the upgrades. A brand new entrance to the zoo will open in November. Then in 2025, gorillas are making their long-awaited return. A new habitat for them will be back at the zoo for the first time in more than 30 years.
The zoo has spent around $80 million in recent years for upgrades. And they say they'll spend hundreds of millions more over the next few years to make it, quote, the best zoo on the planet.
San Antonio postal workers say they just want a basic human need, water. They say the U.S. Postal Service stopped giving them bottles of water last month during the intense heat. As the night team's Daniela Ibarra explains, they're hoping the community will rally behind them.
A fight for safety.
It's hotter than firecrackers down here.
Homer Hernandez says he and his fellow mail carriers want relief.
We work about 8 to 10 hours out in the heat.
Earlier this month, Hernandez told us about how hard it was to hydrate.
They actually, on my station, Adobe Station off of East Houston, we don't have a water fountain working.
Lawmakers sent the Postmaster General a letter asking for them to provide mail carriers with cold water. Since then, Hernandez says his station made some changes.
It took 2 years to comply because of you guys, the congressmen and the mayor speaking out on our behalf. It took 2 days to fix that.
Now he and his fellow union members are fighting for others.
I would like to see every letter carrier in the surrounding area and San Antonio to get bottled water like yesterday.
San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg showed his support.
They have a voice and we listen to them, and when we can elevate and amplify their voice, we're going to do that.
Bob Como, a community leader standing with the postal workers, says this problem has a simple fix.
This is a very simple solution, provide water.
Hernandez says getting water bottles is just a start.
So we need the amazing trucks. That would really help us out. Bags of ice would help us out to keep our water cool out there.
In a statement sent to KSAT today, the Postal Service said they respect unions, but call its position, quote, inaccurate and largely absent of anything based in reality. They say they made those water fountain improvements and that, quote, carriers and all employees have full access to potable water at all times.
In that statement, they also talked about heat illness prevention training and also mentioned they have new vehicles coming that do have AC. Reporting in downtown, Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Back in July, you guys were off, but Adam Caskey was here when we were making the run for, what is it, the 22 days in a row, 21 days in a row, over 100 consecutive, whatever. I said, we're going to go for the run for 21 because we had lost at 15.
The run for 21,
so now we've got,
right.
We've got
Lost.
2 records on the map there.
I love how it's a competition now.
The run for 21. We did it.
We did it. Yeah, we actually surpassed it. Yesterday, we hit the 21st consecutive triple-digit day with this second stretch that we've seen throughout the month of August. Today, we had an official high of 103 degrees here in San Antonio, so that marks the 22nd consecutive triple-digit day, and now we are in the top spot for the largest number of consecutive 100-degree plus days on record, now surpassing 1962 with 21, and of course the stretch that we saw earlier this summer back in July. And we're going to tack on to that streak by one more day tomorrow afternoon, but then as we head into Tuesday, right now we're not forecasted to reach the century mark for the first time this month, thanks to the brief changes that we have that are expected to move in to parts of South Central Texas. So let's talk all about it, starting off though with your KSAT 12-hour forecast, planning out your Monday. First thing out the door tomorrow morning, upper 70s expected, a muggy start, partly cloudy skies throughout the day. Temperatures already warming into the mid 90s, around 95 for any lunchtime plans. Then into the later portions of our Monday afternoon, another triple-digit day. Forecast high pointed around 103 by 5 o'clock. And coverage is expected to be very low, but we do have a 10% chance for a stray shower or two before the day is done. But most of us are going to miss out tomorrow. Again, fire danger is going to be high because of that. Into Tuesday, though, that's when we bump up the potential, about a 40% chance to see some widely separated showers and storms push across parts of the area. But you can see here already the heaviest rain is expected to stay south of San Antonio. But I want to go ahead and talk about the setup and what we're going to be monitoring over the next couple of days. There is still this tropical wave that's now moved into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. The National Hurricane Center now giving it the likelihood that it could strengthen into a tropical depression or a low-end tropical storm as it does work westward over the warm waters of the Gulf and approach the western Gulf coastline by early Tuesday. Regardless on if tropical development occurs or not, the biggest thing that we're going to be monitoring here in San Antonio is how far northward does the deep tropical moisture that it's going to bring along with it travel. This is the latest version here of your Futurecast depicting what the radar could look like over the next couple of days. You can see by early Tuesday morning, before the sun comes up, that's when we're expected to see some of that rain move into deep South Texas. It's going to continue to work its way farther westward, goes through to the Corpus Christi area, Laredo, and then eventually work over the Rio Grande into early Tuesday morning and into the afternoon. Just a few widely separated showers and downpours possible closer to San Antonio throughout the day. And then by Tuesday evening, that low pressure system departs farther off to the west, taking the bulk of the rain chances that are still left along with it. And as we overlay the future rainfall potential here, you can see that for us here in South Central Texas, the rain activity is not going to be for everybody. I do want to manage expectations there because the deeper tropical moisture and frankly the better rain chances look to fall well off to our south, closer to the Rio Grande Valley where 1 to 3 inches is possible. Still, I do think we will be able to tap into some rain activity on Tuesday. It's just not going to be for our entire viewing area, with most of that sitting farther south. And that is unfortunate for us because you can see, at least across portions of the hill country, that's where we still have some of the worst drought in place. So we'll see what we can find before the first half of the week is over. But on Tuesday, also expect it to be pretty breezy out there. Healthy east winds gusting upwards of 30 to 35 miles per hour. And there are your temperatures. 96 on Tuesday, not too shabby. Don't get used to it though, because we are expecting high pressure to quickly build back in by Thursday and Friday. And that means the triple digits are back.
Look, Tim, you could break more records with that heat.
Yeah, but Tuesday and Wednesday are messing things up, so we could knock it out a lot earlier.
The switch flipped so quickly between the constant complaints and now, I like this though.
Complex individual, Courtney. Larry will join us with a preview of Instant Replay right after this. NFL teams have one more preseason game to go, and then the fun really begins with games that count. The Dallas Cowboys will start the regular season at the Giants, and they'll do so without one of their top rookies. For more on that and what's on Instant Replay, let's check in with Larry Ramirez.
What a bummer for DeMarvion Overshown, right? I mean, the rookie from the University of Texas was having a great training camp and was looking ready to become a key member of the Cowboys defense. Coming up tonight on Instant Replay.
Geno Smith standing in the end zone of the shotgun. Tight end goes in motion to the left. Smith flares it in the right flat, and there's a very fine tackle on the running back. Made very quickly, by the Cowboys' DeMarvion Overshown, who is injured.
Yeah, DeMarvion Overshown suffered a knee injury last night in the Cowboys' preseason loss at Seattle. He walked off the field on his own power, but was carted into the locker room, and it looks like he's lost for the season.
And I think this week I had flashes, and I think I had made a lot of good plays. Still made some mistakes, but I think I made more plays than I made mistakes. I think that's a step.
Texans rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud played much better in his second preseason game, a 28-3 loss to the Finns. He's got one more preseason game to prep for the regular season, and if he's going to be successful, the Texans really need to figure out that rushing attack.
As Lara went down, Jorge Hernandez just got a second yellow and a red. He's going to be sent off for the final 10 minutes of this match.
San Antonio FC was looking to close out its stretch of 3 games in 8 days with the max 9 points, but they lost a player to a red card to end it in a scoreless draw with Monterey Bay FC. The good news, Jordan Farr earned yet another clean sheet. Plus, the KSAT Pigskin Classic is this week. The high school football season starts on Thursday, and now the football is here. What is your go-to football movie? That's our poll question tonight. That and much more coming up on Instant Replay.
Friday Night Lights.
There you go.
Big time.
Big time, baby.
Thanks, Larry. Still ahead, using past pain to protect others. It's what a San Antonio dad is stressing to pool owners across the Alamo City. His personal message to parents coming up next on the Nightbeat.
We've been talking about the heat still remaining. There is plenty of sun and pool time left to enjoy this season, so we still have to be cautious when it comes to drownings. The Night Team's Patty Santos talks to a father who knows that tragedy all too well. Now he's trying to protect other families.
We didn't realize he had learned how to open the door, and so by the time we knew it, he was already halfway to the pool.
Fear drove Mary Vasquez to immediately install a fence around her backyard pool.
I'm gonna find a way to get in.
She says her 4-year-old grandson is showing signs of autism and is extremely drawn to water.
He's just, without any fear, he's walking right into it.
Autistic children, they're 90 times more likely to drown than your average child.
Jason Sheffield, owner of Lifesaver Pool Fence of the Hill Country, just got done installing the fence. After every job, he offers families safety advice.
Teach your kids to swim, survival swim.
He's made it his personal mission to save families from the nightmare he experienced. His 3-year-old son died by drowning.
Tomorrow is the 7-year anniversary of the day that he drowned. He was the 90th child in 2016 to drown. 107 actually drowned that year and died. This year we're at 56.
Texas child drowning statistics show 3 Bexar County kids under the age of 4 have drowned this year so far. 2 of them drowned in pools.
Get a fence, keep your kids from getting in a pool. Lift up on the latch.
For families like Mary, installing a fence is half the cost
and you can let go and it closes.
Of what a funeral would be.
Instead of funeral and the guilt that you're going to live with for the rest of your life doesn't outweighs the cost of the fence.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers definitely to them. Safety, very important with all of this heat still in the forecast, even as we head into the second half of the upcoming work week. Now, speaking of the heat, I know we've thrown a lot of statistics at you this summer. We talked about consecutive triple-digit days a little bit earlier, but now here's a check-in at just the number of triple-digit days that we've seen all summer long. Today, marking number 55. Still in the 4th top spot on record, but we're going to have plenty more opportunities opportunities to climb up this list, at least over the next 7 days. All starting with your Monday, again starting off in the upper 70s, a very straight chance for a shower later on in the afternoon and evening, and a high temperature of 103 degrees. We are expecting sub 100 degree temperatures, especially Tuesday, with that 40% chance for some widely scattered rain, all associated with that tropical wave moving into deep South Texas, potentially just below the century mark yet again on Wednesday before we start to climb right back up in terms of those afternoon highs by Thursday and Friday. So we'll get you another look at all the changes we're expecting over the next several days, plus what else is brewing in the Atlantic Basin coming up in just a few, Tim.
Thanks, Mia. We'll see you then. Right now, both California and Nevada under states of emergency as Tropical Storm Hillary slams the West Coast tonight. Forecasters warning of the potential for catastrophic flooding. That storm already has caused one death in Mexico. ABC's Alex Stone in Los Angeles tonight, where Hillary is the first tropical storm to hit California in decades.
More than 42 million Americans under tropical storm warnings as Hillary moves north. The heavy rainfall causing flooding in many areas.
Stay safe, stay informed, and stay home. The worst of the rains is potentially left to come.
The storm made landfall in Baja California, Mexico on Sunday. Video shows flooded streets, the water moving swiftly through the town of Santa Rosalia, Mexico. In Los Angeles, several lanes of the 101 freeway near Sherman Oaks flooded.
Some people, like this truck driver, even taking chances and just roaming right through the floodwaters.
The slick roads making driving very dangerous, leading to crashes. Ahead of the storm, authorities urged people on Catalina Island to evacuate. Multiple flash flood warnings in effect across the area.
Continues to come down here in Cathedral City. These tropical rains in these desert towns just don't match.
ABC's Zareen Shah is nearby in Palm Springs, where they're also seeing flooding tonight.
The soil here in Palm Springs and the desert Southwest does not absorb water very well. So in extreme rainfall events like this, dangerous flash flooding can develop even faster, sending massive amounts of rain and debris flowing.
Many people got ready, filling sandbags and stocking up on supplies.
Hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Crews have built large sand berms along the beach to protect the coast from massive waves, though some people are hoping to take advantage of the high surf. And then in the midst of the storm, these lights swang as Los Angeles was hit by a 5.1 magnitude earthquake.
Chief, I'm really sorry to interrupt you right now. Our studio is shaking right now, so not only are we dealing with a tropical storm, but it appears we're now dealing with an earthquake.
This is the first time we've had a magnitude 5 since 1932. In exactly this location.
There were no reports of any damage or injuries from the quake, and experts say it was not related to the severe weather. Alex Stone, ABC News in Los Angeles.
Now to Canada, where firefighters continue to battle wildfires in what's considered the worst fire season in Canadian history. 2 wildfires have crews' full attention right now, one in British Columbia, just east of Vancouver, and another near Yellowknife, the capital of the Northwest Territories. Tens of thousands of people near those fires have evacuated their homes to get to safety. Canadian officials say they've done everything they can to contain the fires closest to populous cities, but they are not out of the woods yet.
In Russia, the Kremlin is reporting 2 new drone strikes from across the border in Ukraine. The mayor of Moscow says one of those drones was shot down just south of the capital overnight. Meanwhile, the other drone hurt 5 people in a town closer to Russia's border with Ukraine, according to leaders there. That attack damaged a train station, but those leaders said the trains were still up and running.
9 people sent to the hospital after an overnight shooting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Police say the victims range in age from 16 to 42. All those victims expected to survive. Meanwhile, no arrests have been made in the shooting, and police still don't know what led to that violence.
To politics now. Former President Donald Trump facing 40 separate charges related to his possession of allegedly classified documents he took when he left the White House. Those charges ranging from unlawful retention of national defense information to various obstruction-related offenses. Trump has denied any wrongdoing in those cases. All this comes, though, as Republicans prepare for Wednesday's first GOP debate without the former president there. ABC's Selena Wang reports on what to expect in the week ahead.
Former President Trump has insisted he declassified all the documents he took from the White House before he left office. But sources tell ABC News former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows told Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigators he had no idea Trump had brought classified documents with him to Mar-a-Lago, and said he could not recall Trump ever ordering the declassification of broad sets of classified materials before leaving the White House.
I think this reporting shows exactly why the Trump team fought to keep Meadows from testifying and undercuts one of Trump's main public arguments that he's been making, that he declassified all of these documents before he took them from the White House to Mar-a-Lago.
Sources say Meadows also told investigators that when those documents were first requested by the National Archives, he offered to help Trump go through the boxes, an offer the former president declined.
I don't have any knowledge of any broad-based directive from the president, but that doesn't mean it didn't occur. It's not something that I ever heard about.
A Trump campaign spokesman responded to the ABC News report, accusing Special Counsel Jack Smith of selectively leaking incomplete information without providing evidence. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to all charges in the case and denies any wrongdoing. Selena Wang, ABC News, Washington.
Still to come on the Nightbeat, a simple safety plan can make all the difference. What small steps you can take in your home to prevent gun theft.